Hello everyone, I am going to help you out with your weekly 6 from last week. It looked like we were struggling with placing the decimal, and it's been a little bit since we looked at this at school. So I'm going to go through a couple problems, and then you can go back to your weekly 6, take a look at your decimal placement, and see where you made those mistakes, and then you can resubmit. So here we go. Our first problem that we're going to look at is 6 and 23 hundredths times 5 and 6 tenths. And if you remember, when we are multiplying with the decimal, this is where you do not have to line up the decimal. This is the one operation where we don't line up and we place it at the end. We take a look and we can estimate that we've got 6.23 times 5.6. So that's about 6 times, if you round the 5 down, 6 times 5 is 30, or if you rounded it up, 6 times 6 is 36. So it's going to be somewhere in between there. So that's going to help with our decimal placement. But also remember, however many decimal spots are in the original problem is how many will be in the answer. So if we look at this one, we've got 2 decimal spots. And in this number, we only have 1. So when you add those together, we're going to have 3 decimal spots in our answer. So we're going to go ahead and just multiply as we normally would, ignoring the decimals, and then we'll place it at the end. So we'll go ahead and do our 6 times 3 is 18. Put down your 8, carry your 1. 6 times 2 is 12, plus the 1 more is 13. And then 6 times 6 plus 1 is 37. Cross that stuff out. Put down our 0. And now we'll multiply through our 5. And 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 1 is 11. And then 5 times 6 is 30 plus 1 more is 31. And then we'll go ahead and add all that up. We have 8 and 0 is 8. 3 and 5 is 8. 7 and 1 is 8. 3 and 1 is 4. And 3 and nothing is 3. Based on our estimate before, we know that our answer is going to be somewhere between 30 and 36. And we also know that we need 3 decimal spots, so we go over here to the back and we count over 3 numbers. 1, 2, 3. And we place our decimal. So we've got a final answer of 34 and 888 thousandths. So once again, we kind of estimated to see where it would go. And then also, however many spots, original decimal spots you have, total, in this case there were 3, you start at the back and you move over 3 numbers and place that decimal. All right, our next problem, this looks like your one from your weekly 10, and I just changed the numbers a little bit. It says a Chihuahua puppy weighs 4.37 pounds. An English Mastiff weighs 10 times the weight of the Chihuahua. How many more pounds does the English Mastiff weigh than the Chihuahua? All right, so what you're going to do is you're just going to take that 4.37, and if you remember correctly, that the our number system is based off of 10, and if we're multiplying or dividing by powers of 10, all we have to do is move the decimal over. And when we multiply, we're making the number bigger, so we're scooting it over. And we would have 4 and 37 hundredths times 10 would equal 43.7, because we're just moving over the decimal 1 spot because there's only 1 0 right here. Now, if that confuses you, we've talked about that before, but if that confuses you and you just want to go ahead and do the multiplication, you will get the same thing when you can just do your 4.37 times 10, 0 times 7, 0 times 3, and 0 times 4. Those are all 0. You cross that out, put down your 0. 1 times 7 is 7, 1 times 3 is 3, and 1 times 4 is 4. Remember our decimal rule? We know that we are going to need 2 decimal spots. So we go to the back and we end up with our 43.70. But the question says how many more pounds? So we have to find the difference now. So you take that 43.7 and you're going to subtract away the 4.3 0.37. I'm going to add a placeholder 0 here. If you remember, when we're subtracting with decimals, you must line them up. It's not like multiplication where you don't have to. In subtraction, you must line up and add your placeholder 0 like I did, and we'll just go ahead and subtract here. I'm going to have to borrow right away. Make this a 6, make this a 10, and 10 take away 7 is 3. And then 6 minus 3 is 3. Bring your decimal straight down. And then, I'm going to have to borrow again. Make this a 3, make this a 13. 13 take away 4 is 9, and 3 minus nothing is 3. All right, so it's 39.33 pounds heavier. All right, and then our last one. Oh, look, this one looks like the weekly 6 one as well, but I just changed the numbers. A toy company finds the measure of the length of the actual airplane shown. And you can see that right here, 80.7 meters. That's the actual airplane. All right, now a toy plane is 3,000 times as long as the actual airplane. How long is the toy airplane? You can see times, which means we're going to multiply. And you can see that 3 is in the thousandths place, which is super, super small. So the toy airplane obviously is way, way smaller. It's only 3,000ths the size of the actual. So we're going to go ahead and just take our 80 and 7/10 meters of this plane right here. And we know that the toy plane is 3,000ths times as long. Now remember, again, with multiplying with decimals, we don't have to line it up. You can see we did not line it up. Now I do know that in my answer, I am going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal spots, because that's our rule. You look at the original problem. How many decimal spots are in the original problem? That's how many are going to be in your answer. And when you multiply 80 times something that's not even close to 1, the answer is going to go way down. You're not going to get close to 80 because we'd have to have a whole number of 1 to even get close to 80. All right? So we'll go ahead and do all of the multiplication, and we do 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 0 is 0 plus the 2 is 2, and then 3 times 8 is 24. Now, there's no point for me to cross this out and multiply through these zeros because everything would be zeros, and I would just add up and still get the 2421. But now I go to the back. Remember, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal spots. So if I go here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So my final answer would be 2,421 10,000ths of a meter. So the toy plane is very, very small. It's not going to be anywhere even close to a meter. All right, so things to remember with your decimals. You don't have to line them up while you're doing the work, but you have to count how many decimal spots there are. Start from the back and scoot on over. Also, make sure you read the question carefully, because in this problem, the Chihuahua problem, many of you guys did the first part in your weekly 6, but then you did not do the second part. So make sure you're reading to see what the question is asking you, because I know in problem number 6 also there is a second part. So make sure that you're reading the question carefully. And if you have any questions, go ahead and email me so that I can help you out. So we won't have a new weekly 10 this week. We will just go ahead and be correcting our weekly 10 from last week because we still need to work on our multiplication with decimals and getting those decimals placed correctly. All right, have a great day.